I think Final Fantasy XVI should have been a spinoff. Here's why.
Yokohama classic. From Alabama to Baltimore. Somehow ended up in Kawasaki City, Dinko Shigaya, and now we do the war, my new home. Yeah, they know. It's your boy, Dory Durrell. Got another story to tell.
Alright, this is Dorian Andrews with the Dory Durrell Music Channel. Thank you for tuning in. And today we're going to talk about a video game that I really liked, but it just seemed a little off. Yes, we're talking about Final Fantasy XVI today. And first impressions, it felt to me like Square Enix was confused about the direction they wanted to take this game, which is very similar to what happened with Final Fantasy 13 and 15. So 16 feels to me like The Witcher 3 plus Devil May Cry. So the interactions and talking to people and all the cutscene stuff, it reminded me of The Witcher 3. But the gameplay feels a lot like Devil May Cry. Please correct me if you think I'm wrong, or if you think something else, please let me know in the comments. But that's what I thought of this game. It's not a bad thing. I like The Witcher 3 and I like Devil May Cry. But as a Final Fantasy game, not so much. My image of Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy 7, which is the first game I ever saw in the Final Fantasy series. Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10. So let's start with the good. Clive is a likable and relatable character. I love the fact that they use some of the elements of slavery and being a bastard child. He feels like he's trying to find his place in the world and he's trying to protect his brother, and that is what shapes his identity. So once that's stolen from him, there's this real emotional pull that kind of draws you into the story involving his character, because he's lost his sense of purpose and he has to rediscover himself throughout the game. I love Clive's arc. It is really, really gripping. The beginning of the game is some of the best storytelling in Final Fantasy, in my opinion. Cid is also the best character in the entire game, hands down. I'm pretty sure if you go on the forums, everyone will be saying the same thing. Towards the middle of the game, there's not a lot of Cid, and I'm not gonna spoil why, but Cid is an amazing character, and when he's not involved, it shows a lot. There's some themes of slavery, discrimination that is littered throughout this entire game, and it's really nice to see in a Final Fantasy game. It's similar to what I've heard about Tales of Arise. I haven't played that game yet, but I heard that game has similar themes, and I think the way they tackled it in Final Fantasy 16 is really nice, and you can feel the emotion. There's times where I got really pissed off at certain characters. The acting is really great in this game. The gameplay is really fun. The boss battles are amazing. That is what shapes this whole game. So boss battles are mostly done with summons, or we call in this game icons. And the main character, Clive, he can transform into Ifrit. He doesn't know how to control it at first, but once you get the hang of it and he starts fighting these bosses, he'll fight Titan, he fights Bahamut, Odin, Phoenix. There's so many different summon battles that are really, really cool, and that basically is the best part of the game. The side characters are also very interesting. Jill, Joshua, Gav, which is he was one of my favorites. They did a really good job with the characters, with the side characters, as well as the villains. Benedicta and the others. Let's get into the bad. So the bad is, Sid is only in the beginning of the game. Sid is a very vital piece of this game, and when he's not in the later parts of the game, it really shows, and the game kind of goes downhill from there. And I was just waiting. I'm counting the hours, like, okay, how long is this gonna take to beat? Sid really balanced the game out with his, you know, comical nature, but he also has this very stoic and emotional pull. So I feel like Sid was very much needed in the entirety of this game. You only play as Clive, and that's not really Final Fantasy-like. I would have preferred to play with a team. No big side characters stood out much. I would have preferred to play with other characters such as Jill, Joshua, especially Gav. There was so many missed opportunities for side quests. When Gav sneaks out and goes out alone, I would have loved to play with Gav at some point in like a New Game Plus or something. Jill, there are parts of Jill during the time skip that you just never play. Joshua, during the time skip and even after, you never play with Joshua. I wish there was a different side path where you could play with Joshua leading up to when he reconnects with Clive. And the ultimate plot was very generic and dull. It made the overall countries at war theme irrelevant towards the end of the game. Dion uses Bahamut perfectly fine at the end of the game, but the other icon users lost their minds after losing their powers to Clive and somehow reawakening them. I'm kind of confused by that because all the other icons who transformed into their icons after losing their powers went crazy. So why didn't Dion go crazy? That didn't make sense to me. Side quests were more fun than the actual main story towards the end of the game. That's just my honest opinion. I was more curious about the side characters and what happened to them. And those characters were not that memorable, but their stories were really interesting. The final boss, Ultima, was so boring. It was stupid. It was just not intimidating. I didn't look forward to it at all. Yeah, the ending was kind of for me. And the gameplay was repetitive at times. So Devil May Cry is fun, but when you're mixing and mashing these different play styles, it's fun for so long. I wish that they had kind of spread it out into different characters so we could play as a team, so then it wouldn't feel as boring, because I couldn't use all of the abilities at one time. So overall, Final Fantasy XVI is a nice game, but it would have been nice as a spin-off. If they named this a spin-off, it would have been so much better. It's a part of the actual series, so I think people were kind of turned off by the nature of the game. So what did you think about the game? Did you play this game? Did you not play this game? And if you didn't, why didn't you play? And if you liked the game or didn't like the game, please let me know in the comments your opinions. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This is your boy, Dorian Andrews from the Doria Durrell Music Channel. Thank you for listening to my music. Thank you for tuning in to these video game news and reviews. And I will see you next time. Signing out. Deuce deuce.